So when you were talking about when you had went to get help from a mental facility, from what you have described, do you believe that mental health treatment has improved?
Yes, it has. It has improved, and the access to it has improved. And I think that the awareness has improved. I think that one of the biggest steps that we need to try to accomplish is making the administrators see the effect they have on this whole phenomenon. So I think I mentioned earlier, when you're bullied, 5 might bully you, 5 might not, but then the teacher picks you out and everybody will pick on you. And so if the administrators see just how much impact they have on either side, I think that that's where the stopgap happens. Because I think that the helpers in the mental health industry, they want to help. And I think the students, they want to get the help. But then there's the mediators in the middle that when they try to reach up to get the help, there's so much red tape and so much liability and so much different people that might get insulted or offended or lawsuits or whatever. Like, the only way I was able to do this because I was able to get a couple teachers to cheerlead me, because I was trying for months to come up and speak to you guys. And I hit that wall of static of administration that stops this kind of stuff from actually happening. And so on the mental health side, that needs to definitely be lessened. There needs to be an easier access from the students to the mental health providers. And I think that another key step is we need to somehow make it to where kids can have kids. I don't mean to say kids in a disrespectful way. You guys are students, you're not kids, you're young adults. I hate when people call you kids. But when you guys can have someone who you can talk to that isn't gonna judge you and isn't going to try to make you their project and isn't gonna turn you into a number in their machine. Because trying to get help and then having someone then turn you into, well, okay, now I'm gonna fill my quota with you, completely shuts off not only that help, but any other help you're gonna get, because you're gonna look at them like I looked at social services for the next 20 years, that none of it's actually gonna work. So we need to start fundamentally with making it more acceptable for people to get it and remove the stigma for people to talk about it. Like, there's a huge stigma around of, especially men, but women too, of discussing these things in public. Like, I'm a guy crying on stage. People, when I mentioned that I was gonna be talking to a high school and I might cry on stage, the response was, oh, everybody's gonna troll you. No one's gonna listen to you, no one's gonna care. Kids these days don't even listen, they're just gonna make fun of you. I don't see anybody making fun of me. I don't see any trolling at all. So I think that there's a perception there that needs to be changed.
What would you say to a student who feels like they're in a constant hellhole?
That there's light eventually, that if you keep on going, it will change, that it might not look like it's gonna get better now, but it will eventually change. I can't say it's gonna get better. I can't say that it's gonna fix itself. I can't say everything's gonna be okay. But I can say that tomorrow the sun's gonna rise, and that you have the decision to either fight against the changes. There's a phrase from a song that I like. It's from a band called Pussifer, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but there are no demons save for those who refuse to accept the devastation left in the wake of change. So when you face the changes when you face this hell that you're living in, you can either fight against the changes that are coming at you and try to stay who you are, try to stay firm, and let it wear you down like water on a riverbed and beat you down and grind you down into dust. Or you can change and adapt with those changes and move with it and try to become like the water itself. So when you're faced with a seemingly black slate and you think that there's no way out, just keep walking, because eventually you're going to hit something. And when you hit that first thing, you can reach around to touch your second thing. And then eventually you might see light. And then you just keep going to that. But if you stop in that darkness, you're not going to go anywhere except for down even further. So I mentioned earlier there was a song, or an album, Downward Spiral. There's a flip side to that I like now that I bring up. There's a song by a band named Tool, and it's called Lateralis. And the song talks about spiraling out, that we have to ride the spiral of our divinity and discover that we are indeed still, can be divine and still human. And ride the spiral of experience, spiral out and keep going. And to me, it was really powerful to realize that when you go down that spiral, and people talk about depression like a spiral, and you're going down in the spiral. And to me, that has a lot of weight, because having gone through it, there are levels to it, okay? Where you start off with like this kind of sense of aggravation and self-loathing, and then that kind of congeals to like an anger of everyone else, where you start to kind of get aggressive to those around you. And then if that's not fixed, that can metastasize into like a destruction, where you start to destroy the people around you, start to insult and attack, and start to go after them aggressively. Then if that's not solved, that can metastasize even further to kind of a deep destruction, where you're actively trying to hurt people around you. Like, you're not only just insulting them, you're actively trying to injure them. Okay? But then at the bottom of that, there's that space that I hit at the end of it, which was that, I call it annihilation, was that dark, calm spot. Okay? But the way out is through. So when you keep going, and you keep going down it, the spiral doesn't end in that dark spot. The spiral is going to keep going. But you can spiral back out. You don't have to keep going down. The spiral can move forward again. You can start to see colors, you can start to see feelings, you can start to see more people around you. If you just keep going, the spiral goes too. So just keep going.